And joining me now is former U.S. Ambassador to Russia, Mike McFaul. Ambassador McFaul, welcome back to Meet the Press. You're playing Kremlinologist for us, and you heard the Secretary of State there not wanting to speculate. You get to speculate. So let's start with there. What did we just witness? It's a similar question I asked Secretary Blinken. And how weak do you think Vladimir Putin is right now?
Well, it was a mutiny. Mr. Prigozhin made it very clear that he wanted to punish the armed forces of Russia for the way they've been fighting in Ukraine and for the way they attacked him. It was an extraordinary operation. This was not just something he woke up one day and said, let's go to Moscow. It's clear there was a lot of planning. And the fact that our intelligence allegedly knew about it in mid-June, of course, the Russian intelligence must have known about it as well, and yet did nothing to stop it. And Putin then got on TV and made a very strong statement, Chuck. He was like, we're going to crush these guys like a bug. These are traitors. And then several hours later, negotiated. So the fear of escalation, you know, we've been talking about this a lot, Chuck, right, in Ukraine. He needs an exit strategy. He needs to save face. If we push him here, he's going to escalate. When push came to shove this time, he capitulated.
So who blinked more here, Prigozhin or Putin?
Oh, Putin. There's no doubt in my mind. Mm-hmm. You know, he did not use force. He could have attacked these forces as they're just marching up a road that I used to drive on all the time.
Killed 12 helicopter pilots, did he not?
Exactly. That's why, to me, it's very clear that in this game of chicken, it was Putin that stepped down. And it's strange to me that he gave that big speech. Had he not given that speech, it would look a lot different. But He gave this big speech saying they're traitors, and then several hours later, he decided to negotiate. And don't get me wrong, I understand why he did. He did not want to spark a civil war. These are real fighters. But there's no doubt that he looks weak in the eyes of lots of people inside Russia, and I think lots of people outside of Russia as well.
Do you expect there to be a new defense minister soon?
I don't know. Of course, there's lots of reports that was part of the deal.
Right.
And if that's true, that's even another sign of Putin's weakness, if Prigozhin was able to get that. But we have to wait and see. We have not seen exactly what was in those negotiations.
What do you make of Belarus playing a mediator role here? Again, he's supposed to be the puppet. And that's what a lot of people assume here. Same question I asked the Secretary of State, are we underestimating Belarus here? Is he a strengthening capo, to speak in mob terms?
I don't think so. I think he's a puppet of Putin. Putin wanted him to do this. Okay. Remember, Prigozhin is too. That's what's so strange about this whole thing. Prigozhin's been very close to Putin for a long, long time. I just think Putin wanted some distance. I agree with Secretary Blinken here. Yeah. He didn't want to be the direct interlocutor, but was Lukashenko doing exactly what Putin wants? That's my assessment.
And is this, universally, this is a positive for the war in Ukraine for the Ukrainians? Or is there any chance here that you fear that Putin's desperate and might do something stupid?
Well, it's definitely a positive. When Russian forces are threatening to fight each other rather than fighting the Ukrainian army, that's good for Ukraine. Putin looks a lot weaker today than he did 48 hours. That's good for Ukraine. That doesn't mean, however, that there's going to be some breakthrough as a result of this. The basic fighting forces that Russia have in Ukraine haven't changed. The Wagner folks had left already. But on your escalation point, Chuck, I think it's a really important one because we've been debating this now for many, many months.
Right.
And even the Biden administration from time to time has made decisions not to provide weapons to the Ukrainians, certain types of weapons, because they worry about escalation. But let's remember what we just witnessed here.
Yep.
Putin had the opportunity to escalate. He told the world and his people he was going to escalate, and then he blinked. And I think that, to me, may be the most important lesson from this mutiny in Russia for the war in Ukraine. That this notion that he's going to double down and escalate, one, he may not want to, and B, he may not have the means to do so.
Or maybe even the moral authority over his troops. Mike McFaul, former ambassador to Russia. Always good to get your perspective.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.